Hello, Aryan, Samurai Mama. Here's your Fight Club video. It's going to... The biggest punch in in the Fight Club video is, after I've analyzed everything, what I think about it is really like, why do you need a Fight Club video? That's the biggest punch. Now let's see if that makes sense after I go over the specific points. Pulling out the negative points. Saturn retrograde, right? At the beginning of Virgo. So what's going on there? Saturn is trying not to be in your first house. And it's the sixth lord, and it's the fifth, a little bit the fifth lord. And it's in Virgo, right? So Saturn is trying to not be the sixth and fifth lord in Virgo, your first house. So that really tells you what you're up against. You're big. I don't know if it's a flaw. It is a flaw, or the big problem in life is trying not to be depressed about yourself. Trying not to be so critical of yourself. Trying not to be negative about yourself. Nagging. Nitpicking about yourself. Basically trying to let yourself be okay or be good enough. It's not easy. That's why you're getting a Fight Club video. So, I think normal people don't have that much self-depreciation. And that's your biggest problem. You also have the first lord retrograde in Mula. So it's very similar. That's in your fourth house, which is the heart. And that first lord is combust. The sun, during the combustion, is the 12th lord. It's retrogressing away from the sun. It's trying to get out of the situation of being, especially it's trying to get out of the situation of being combust. It's not so much trying to get out of Mula. So what this says is, it's a complexity that you have trying to escape. Because you got Mercury retrogressing away from the 12th lord. 12th lord signifies escape. And retrogressing away from it signifies escaping from escape. So you're in a complex situation where you're trying to escape. You probably know what I mean more than I do. And in particular, may also pertain to the sun figures. Sun figures like bosses, fathers, males, authorities. Trying to escape from being overshadowed by them. Or being unable to see what a planet in combustion is unable to show itself. Its shine is consumed by the luminance of the sun. So, trying to escape having your identity devoured by sun figures. It's a pressing need. It's part of this. It's part of the nagging, nitpicking about yourself. And with the Mula thing, obviously it's like you're really searching for who you are. But with the Mula being complicated by the sun's combustion and the 12th lord's combustion and the presence of Saturn in the first house, it's really self-negative and like desire to bury yourself, hide yourself, kill yourself, get yourself out of the picture. And the challenge that you have to finding yourself is quite profound, because the sun is like a blank. So it's like searching for something with the light shining in your eyes. The way your first Lord is right next to the sun. Now, what is that light that's shining right in your eyes? It's the proclamations that your authorities and your father figures have made about what you aren't. That's what's getting in the way of you seeing what you are. Then, this is such a depressing reading. Why do you make me do this? Venus combust nearby the first Lord. So again, Venus is close to your first Lord, so and Venus is a good Lord here. Right? Yeah. 9th and 2nd. I don't know if I ever explained this to you, but this always happens when I do readings. The yawning. Anyway, Venus nearby the first Lord, there's an attempt. There's a desire, there's a capacity for loving oneself. But Venus is also overshadowed by the sun. So it indicates like a real need to love yourself. And also trying to overcome, trying to overcome, because it's in Jeshta. Venus is in Jeshta, here near the first Lord, so you have a feeling like you can overcome the enemies, the Jeshta, by Venus, or love. You have a feeling that, but the problem is, when Saturn's in your first house, it's difficult to love yourself. Venus is near your first Lord, so it's very important to love yourself. This is really what's coming out from this excavation of your chart, the shape that's coming out. You also have your retrogressive Jupiter, and I know you wanted me to talk about the retrogressions, and they are very interesting. You got a retrogressive Jupiter right at the beginning of Cancer, in the 11th house. So Jupiter's trying to get back into Gemini, and it's not really interested in going into the 11th house. So what that signifies is you don't care enough, or you don't trust financial or material prosperity. And that's a recurring theme throughout the chart. You're not trusting it, or you're too idealistic about it. But then also, you're compelled to trust in religious things, but you don't want to. You think that it's wrong. And you're trying to go back to a Gemini intellectual or conversational way of dealing with it, of religious topics. So you got this problem of prosperity will come from Jupiter in the 11th house, but you don't really want to accept that Jupiter, and you keep falling back to intellectualism. But intellectualism is complex for you because you've got Saturn in Virgo, which means intellectualism leads to depression. So this is another thing that you have to work out. But I think that you have been working this out already. What else I have to say? Two other points. One thing that's also kind of Fight Clubby, something that bash you over the head with, is that you have a poor Phalguni ascendant, but you have a Kritika moon. This is complicated there. I like the samurai mama theme there, because Phalgunis are a mama, and Kritika is a sword of the samurai, or samurai sword, and poor Phalguni mama. Technically, poor Phalguni is masculine, but it's still childbearing. So So Samurai Mama really comes out. So think about what has led you to name yourself Samurai Mama. I know maybe I'm taking it more seriously than you do, but still, it's interesting, and we could use this as a way to discuss the Purva Palguni Kritika dynamic. And this has some kind of an influence on your experience as a mother. The Purva Palguni ascendant really wants to have kids, but the Kritika moon really wants independence and speed, let's say, or not being tied down. So I think one of the things that is conflicting in you is a competing desire to be a fruitful, fertile mother person, but also to be I don't know if bohemian is the right word, but it springs to mind, like a traveler, blazing your own trail and going your own way. So probably you're also reconciling this already, in raising your children with those kind of values, valuing freedom and independent thinking and stuff like that. And finally, you got a Kamadrima moon. It's in the 9th house, and it's supported only by Mars, which is in the 12th house. So the basic idea for a Kamadrima moon is not really able to connect well to the external world. So that's a recurring theme. Gaining strength and meaning only from the internal spiritual realm. The moon is in the 9th house, and this supporting planet is Mars, which is in the 12th. So this Kamadrima moon can get solace only from religious and spiritual things. But because it's Mars in the 12th house, and Kamadrima, and the only planet that's in a position that would do anything with the Kamadrima is Ketu, it's the very fact that your internal strength comes from spirituality and religion also winds up reinforcing your lack of integration with the conventional world. So that's another issue that you have to deal with, is a lack of integration with the conventional world. So I want to call this to a close, but the closing will be rather long, I'm sure. How long have we been going already? You ask for dirt on you. I don't really think there's too much dirt on you. I see some kind of tragic configurations, to put it dramatically. But they wouldn't say that these are the things that make you evil. I don't see evil. I think you are kind of forced away from material things. I think that you face material. You face depression or unenthusiasm towards material things, and you can only turn to spirituality for that. And it's not a flaw, but it does ruin conventional life and ambitions and make those kind of things stall. The thing that should be brought up is that your Navamsha is really superb, except for one planet. If you look at your Navamsha, which I'm sure you've had a million times, you'll know what I'm talking about. These planets are great in the Navamsha, except for your Mars. So what that shows, what the Navamsha shows, is what the inner core of the person is like. So it shows that you're actually a good person, and the problems that you have on the surface aren't really evils in you or something, but they're like difficult side effects from your character. Your character is basically good, but there's difficult side effects to it. That Mars that's in your Navamsha debilitated in the 4th house, and it's also not great elsewhere. 12th house, regular chart, etc. That means one of your challenges that you're facing is the inability to just be okay. That's what I started off by saying. Just an inability to accept that, no, it's okay, I'm good, things are cool. And so that's going to result in inability to be calm, inability to be peaceful, and also an inability to feel connected. Oftentimes, probably, if somebody tries to, this might be why you really wanted me to give you this reading, but oftentimes if somebody tries to tell you that you're good, you'll probably think they're stupid. So, and there's this thing with the way that your Mars is. When it's difficult to be peaceful and contented, then you'll always feel like you're struggling, even though there's nothing that you're struggling towards. You're not struggling towards anything specific, yet you still don't feel at ease. So, the real problems are just to learn how to be okay with yourself and not have to struggle. So what I would say is, and really it comes to its biggest symbolic ambassador is Saturn in your Virgo in your first house. It's really what it's all summed up in. So your problem really is that you can't be comfortable with the idea that you don't have a serious problem. That you're not to blame. You don't deserve all the criticism. You aren't the problem. Now, I'm not saying that you should feel like you do no wrong and you're perfect and everybody else sucks and everybody else does everything wrong. But what I'm saying is you have this constant self-scrutiny and inability for self-forgiveness. And you need to become peaceful. But you won't become peaceful until you can deal with the self-forgiveness, the lack of self-forgiveness, and the constant self-scrutiny, the feeling that if there's no self-scrutiny, something is wrong. You really have to embrace the idea that you're not always the problem. You don't deserve all this criticism, especially from yourself, and you're not really to blame. When you can get that, then your Virgo Saturn will actually succeed to get out of Virgo. So isn't that an interesting Fight Club video? My Fight Club video is that your biggest flaw is that you're asking for a Fight Club video. What, do you hate yourself? See, that's what I'm trying to say. Where you feel like you if there's no criticism of yourself, something must be missing. So, okay. So, and then also, the chart, I don't know if it came out in this reading, but it's significantly spiritual. Moon in the 9th house, Kama, Mars in the 12th house supporting it. First Lord is in Mula. Jupiter is exalted in Ardra. Jupiter is the most prominent planet. So it's okay to be who you are and not trust materialistic things and go towards spirituality. And it's not because of some flaw or something. I'm sure you have done bad things. Everybody has. And I'm sure that you have flaws. Everybody does. But you don't have to make more out of them than what they are. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All right. Let's see how you take this. I look forward to hearing back from you.
chien Nino n'arrêtait pas de vouloir manger les piquants de son chapeau. Et puis un jour, je me suis trouvée un épi de madame dans les fesses. Mon chien, tout ça. Mon chien, il a dit quoi? Mon chien, il a dit, je vais te la sortir. Ça m'a fait mal. Mais où était Madame Cactus? Je l'ai cherchée dans toute la maison, mais je ne la trouvais pas. Sans hésiter, je me suis mis à interroger tout le village pour chercher Madame Cactus. On ne l'a pas trouvée dans sa maison, ni dans ma maison, ni personne ne savait où était Madame Cactus. Mon chien, qui avait un bon odorat, sentait par tous les coins, mais il n'y avait ni même pas une épine qui lui piquait le nez. Alors, bah oui, parce que c'était ma copine. Très peur. Et là, ding, ding, ding. Une voiture de glace est passée par là. Et tout le monde, c'était la première fois qu'ils voyaient une voiture de glace. Donc ils étaient comme, mon village, il n'avait jamais goûté de la glace. Alors ils ont tous se réfugié parce qu'ils pensaient que c'était quelque chose de mauvais. Mais moi et les autres enfants, on est restés. Et en fait, mais c'est pas si grave. Parce qu'en fait, Madame Cactus était celle qui donnait les glaces. Elle s'était juste échappée du village pour quelques semaines.
Mais bien sûr.
Pour trouver un emploi qui m'amuserait, peut-être. Et donc, comme par magie, des glaces à la fraise, à la vanille, au chocolat ont apparu, même de toutes les saveurs. Je peux pas les nommer toutes parce qu'elles sont beaucoup. Et alors on les a mangées. Tout le village les a mangées. Alors les autres qui se cachaient, ils les ont goûtées et elles étaient très bonnes. C'est comme ça que Madame Cactus, et je l'appelle si bien parce que c'est ma copine et elle fait des glaces.
Oh, bravo Nahia.
Mi mamá es grande.
Muy grande. Mucho más grande que las otras mamás. Cuando viene a buscarme al cole, las otras mamás se apartan para dejarla pasar. Mi mamá es fuerte.
Muy
fuerte. Mucho más fuerte que las otras mamás. Una mamá puede ganarle hace un pulso.
Ni ningún papá.
Mi mamá es bonita. Muy bonita. Mucho más bonita que las otras mamás. Si organizamos un concurso de belleza, es mi mamá que ganará el primer premio. Oh, que gané el primer premio. Oh, yo no. Mi mamá es inteligente. muy inteligente que las otras mamás. Ella encuentra siempre el nombre del malo antes del fin de la película y sabe contar en su cabeza.
Mi mamá es deportiva.
Muy deportiva, más deportiva que las otras mamás. Sabe jugar al baby foot y también a la petanca. Y sabe patinar.
Y también sabe hacer.
Puzzle.
Pero los otros niños tienen también un papá y yo no. Tendría que ser un papá grande, muy grande, tan grande al menos como 4 papás.
Totalmente como 4 papás. Tendría que ser un papá fuerte, muy fuerte, mucho más fuerte que los otros papás.
Tendría que ser tan fuerte
como un luchador mascado de la tierra.
No puedes tocar. Tendría que ser un papá guapo, muy guapo.
Mucho más guapo que los otros. Guapo como un actor y con mucho pelo.
Tendría que ser un papá inteligente.
Muy inteligente. Deportista. Que le guste hacer puzzles. Mi mamá y yo pusimos un anuncio en el periódico.
Buscamos papá así y asá. Si no eres así y asá, quédate en tu casa. A la mañana siguiente, los papás llegaron. Alguno no era suficientemente fuerte, no tenía suficiente pelo, no sabía calcular, no sabía andar en patines, ni le gustaban los puzzles y no eran dulces. Al final, solo quedó uno. No era realmente muy grande, tampoco parecía un actor de cine, ni era deportista, ni fuerte como un luchador enmascarado, pero tenía una pinta de cariñoso, entonces nos quedamos con él. Lo mismo.
Mi nuevo papá es pequeño, muy pequeño, más pequeño que los otros papás. No sabe acercar,
Pero
conoce muchas poesías, le gustan los animales y sabe cocinar. Mi nuevo papá es dulce, muy dulce, más dulce que los otros papás.
por la noche,
¿Sí?
antes de dormir,
Mir,
me lee un cuento. Y a veces incluso 2.
yo quiero a mi nuevo papá. Incluso no sabe hacer patines, ni puzzles, ni es un actor de cine.
Es mi papá. Muy bien. ¡Bravo! ¡Cuenta cuentos!
Hola, chámome Arián, son a nai de Nahia. Vou vos contar o Trincalibros, pero en castelá, non sei se se podía. Entón, el Trincalibros, ¿quién está robando todos los cuentos? De Ellen Docherty y Thomas Docherty. Una noche oscura, en Villa Madriguera, una coneja llamada Lena Madera se sentó a leer como una noche cualquiera. Mientras, un trincalibros el cielo surcó y con gran sigilo en la ciudad aterrizó. En todas las casas, en todas las camas, todos los niños leían con ganas.
É super bonito, teñen as ardillas a casiña, os búhos, os mouchos, os coelliños, os ratóns, as mofetas.
Cuentos de dragones envueltos en llamas, brujas traviesas, pócimas envenenadas. Con pócimas envenenadas, temibles piratas navegantes, princesas desveladas por los guisantes. Y las casas escuchaban muy atentos las historias que les contaban. Lena Madera, en el número 10, leía feliz como una perdiz. De repente, las cortinas se movieron un poco y Lena abrió los ojos con sofoco. Su libro de cuentos ya no estaba. Lena no entendía qué pasaba. Un pequeño búho y su mamá se sorprendieron al oír un ta-ta-ta. Algo en su ventana golpeó. Una vez más, el sonido se escuchó. Pero cuando se volvió, sin un ruido, su libro desapareció. Fuera, rugía con fuerza el viento. La pequeña ardilla escuchó un lamento. ¿Qué es eso?, susurró. Fue terrible lo siguiente que ocurrió. Cuando se atrevió y miró, su libro favorito voló. Y noche tras noche lo mismo sucedió, que todos los libros alguien robó. 5 libros por aquí, 10 libros por allí. Pronto las estanterías, ninguno quedó en las estanterías. En Villa Madriguera corrían los rumores sobre malvados y sigilosos ladrones. A Lena Madera le vino a la mente que aquello debía resolver rápidamente. Una noche planeó quedarse despierta. Un cebo de libros colocó y estuvo atenta. Las horas pasaron sin que nada ocurriera. A Lena en el suelo le entró la dormidera. Cuando de repente se escuchó un batir de alas. ¿Un pájaro? ¿Un búho? En la habitación, justo en diagonal, Lena vio una sombra colosal. ¿Qué tipo de monstruo podría ser? «No me das miedo», pensó sin temer. Y sin embargo, cómo latía su corazón al tener que plantar cara al bribón. A toda prisa, las ventanas abrió. Y hacia afuera con fuerza gritó: «¡Deja ya de robar nuestros libros! Te ordeno que los devuelvas todos. Queremos nuestros libros, todos, todos». «¿De verdad?», dijo una voz. «Lo siento, no tenía otra elección». Lena miró hacia abajo sorprendida. No podía creer lo que veía. «¿Quién eres? ¿Y qué haces aquí?». Avergonzada, la criatura bajó la cabeza y murmuró con una mirada de tristeza: «Solo soy un pequeño tirancalibros». Lena asintió con cara muy seria y sentó a la criatura en sus piernas. «No puedes venir aquí y llevarte los libros porque sí». Una lágrima en aquel ser que empezó a llorar y a palidecer. Una lágrima brilló en aquel ser que empezó a llorar y a palidecer. «Sé que está mal, pero ¿qué podía hacer? No tengo a nadie que me pueda leer». Lena suspiró. El trencalibros parecía tan afligido y pensó que quizá no había tenido unos padres que le contaran historias por la noche para que no se portara como un fantoche. En ese mismo instante trazaron un gran plan. El trencalibros devolvería todo su botín y Lena no le permitiría ni un mohín. Así se esforzó en demostrar su valía y dejó cada libro en su estantería. Y cuando hubo devuelto todos los libros, Lena llamó uno a uno a todos sus amigos para explicarles lo mucho que había trabajado y cómo sus errores habían enmendado. Y ahora todas las noches en esta ciudad, mientras cae un manto de oscuridad, en todas las casas, en todas las camas, todos los niños escuchan historias con ganas. Y si te acercas, quizás veas en una esquina de la cama al trincalibros, feliz como una perdiz, escuchando los cuentos sin un desliz.